Well, we're not surprised. We were informed at the last court hearing that they were going to change the venue, and we've talked with Attorney Benjamin Crump, and he's in agreement that the venue be changed. So there were no surprises today. However, we've always said the family would show up every time there was a court hearing, and we continue to be here, and we will be going to Peoria.
We expected it all. He seemed awful happy for a killer, if you ask me. But, you know, there's no accounting for taste, I guess. We will be at the next meeting, and we're pretty pleased about today.
And the location does not change the outcome. You know, he assassinated her, and I think anybody in America will agree that he should be sentenced to life, so that's what we're going for.
Just to see him in person, this is the first time he's been in the courtroom in person. What was that like? I know the whole family has a debrief following that, but what was that like for you, Sonya?
I'm not accustomed to being around killers, but I mean, like I said, he seemed awful jovial for somebody that shot a woman in the face. But again, I guess that's speaks to his taste. We will continue to be at these meetings, and we will continue to seek justice.
I will say, how much power is it for you guys to all sit there as a group? I mean, it's pretty powerful to see you all in your purple, looking at him in a uniform.
Well, we stand united as usual. We will be united after this case, after they find a guilty verdict. And we will continue to move forward, but we will be at each and every court date, so get used to seeing us.
And the anxieties were high for us. People were saying their blood pressure was going up. They were feeling a little anxious today. Even we knew the outcome of today was going to be, it's still painful and hard to see a killer sitting in a room who's taking your loved one. So that was really tough for a lot of us today.
This has been a slow-moving process so far, but now that here we might be getting that trial date scheduled in just a couple of weeks. Does that bring any form of, I guess, relief in any way, just to know that this process is moving?
I'm glad it is moving, but it could have been 10 years down the road, and we still would have showed up every court date. So we are a very patient family, and we're here to seek justice.
Could we just get names and your connection to Sonya?
I'm Sonya Massey. I'm her cousin.
How do you spell that?
Sontae.
I'm Teresa Haley, community activist, and here for Ben Crump.
I'm Mark Mason, community activist, here for Ben Crump and the family.
Did he look in any direction toward the family at all? Did anybody make
No, I was
contact
sitting
with
on the
him?
front row, and he did not turn around and look at us at all. We tried to look at him though, and see his response. And as Asante said, he was very jovial for somebody who was standing trial for murder.
There's stuff going on in the legislature to pass bills dealing with this background checks, better vetting of police. Has the family been following that, and are you supportive of that?
We
process?
are supportive of it, and we've talked, Asante and I have gone over and sat in Senator Doris Turner's office and talked about the legislation and talked to members of the Black Caucus and just talked to legislators throughout the state of Illinois in general about this case and how we expect them to move Sonya Massey's name and legislation forward.
How about what the Massey Commission has done so far in the county board? What are your feelings about that?
Well, so I think the Massey Commission is, I like to put it as ground zero, as the new civil discourse, the place for new civil discourse. We're on board with the Massey Commission. Obviously, I'm all in because our name is on this commission, and they have been very gracious in regard to extending all services to the family, and the family has become more of a part of the Massey Commission.
How about the county board and the sheriff?
They've been great. I couldn't have scripted it better. I also want to thank Chairman Andy Van Meter and everybody that worked hard on, you know, pushing the Massey Commission forward. So everyone's been great. I've sat down and I've personally talked to a lot of the commission board members, a lot of the county board members. Everyone's been great.
Does it feel like there's any positive change happening in the community?
There does. I would like to see more, and the family would obviously like to see more. But this is a long process. So we expect to see the Massey Commission evolve into something greater. We want to make sure that this is just not a flash in the pan thing. We want to make sure this commission lasts for years and years to come.
I know this might be a broken record, but we talked a couple of weeks ago about family and the trial itself and the slow-moving nature of these things. Can you give us a snapshot of where family is at with things and how they're progressing?
I think the family is pleased with how we're progressing. When we look back to the Earl Moore case, who still has not gone to trial yet, and now we think about Sonya, we're moving fast speed ahead. And so we're pleased with the progress. We're pleased with our state's attorney for keeping us engaged and keeping us informed every step of the process. Even with Sonya's father, who's not here today, Mr. Wilburn, he meets with us on a conference call and updates him as well. So we are pleased with the progress thus far, and we're just going to continue to show up and get justice for Sonya. And it's not only Sonya, it's other victims who were killed by deputy sheriffs and the sheriff department. We're going to continue to hold them accountable and to see positive changes throughout Springfield. And we do want something through the legislation to be able to recall our sheriff or any other elected officials. For people who are out there listening, please help us make this a reality. It needs to happen. If someone is not doing their job, regardless of who you are, we should be able to recall your position. And so we're working extremely hard to get that to happen.
How can people help?
Sign the petition. There are petitions going around. There are petitions on Facebook. If we get the contact information, we can send it to each of your news outlets for you to send it to people, and they can print it off. Sign the petitions. I think it's 8,500 signatures that we have to continue to move this forward. We want to see this on the ballot.
Mr. Massey, does the family have any connections with Peoria County?
Not really. You know, it could have been in Washington, D.C. It could have been in Seattle, Washington. We will make the trip, and we will show up each and every time he goes to a court date. I would like to also add, you know, this is, like I said, a very long process. Please show up to the county board meetings. To anyone that listens, please show up to city council. Please show up to the Massey Commission meetings. We have actionable items that need to be addressed now, while we have this space in between the court dates. Go to these meetings. Support the people that are working very hard in these meetings. Just show up.
And be the change that you want to see. I think all of us can do something in terms of making changes. You know, we have to be willing to speak out. When you see something, speak out. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. So we're asking people to speak up and to speak out. I don't care if the person's black or white. I don't care about your religion. I don't care about your sexual orientation. If you know that someone has been harmed, discriminated against, or even abused and murdered, speak up and speak out. Because her case is not the first case, but her case was the tipping that got national attention. So we're asking people to please speak up and speak out.
Thank you.
We appreciate you guys.
Thank you all. Thank you.